Hello and welcome to the Intelligent Contract Webinar demonstration. Intelligent Contract is a contract management solution that makes managing your contracts simple. It provides you with a centralized place for all your contracts and will help you reduce contract-based risk. It will automate processes and ultimately improve your profitability. In this webinar, we're going to take a look at how to log in, how to find contracts, reviewing contracts, and then a detailed look within a contract and the tools that are available to you, and finally how to produce PDF reports. So let's get started. So the first thing to say is that Intelligent Contract is a cloud-based solution. So as long as you've got an internet connection and any device, it could be a laptop computer, a desktop, even a mobile phone or a tablet, then you can get access to your contracts. So if I click here, I'll begin the sign-in process. Every user is given a username, which is generally their email address, and a password. Alternatively, you can use existing usernames and passwords associated with Google or Office 365. Let's go ahead and log into this account. Click on Sign In. And you're now logged into your account. Now let's take a look at how easy it is to locate the contract you want to work with within Intelligent Contract. So the first thing to notice down the left here is the menu, and here are all the various features that are available to you. At the moment you can see that Contracts is currently selected, and so the summary is showing all the contracts that are in this particular account. In this account there are only 35, but as you might imagine you can have unlimited contracts and unlimited storage. So let's take a look at some of the fields that you get out of the box. So here is the title field. The title field is a free text field that allows you to describe what this particular contract is all about. The type field allows you to assign a type to each contract. Those types can be custom for your organization and then assigned to each contract to help with searching and reporting. The status field is indicating whether this contract is currently active or maybe has expired, or in some cases is due. So this has been worked out from the end date. So here's the start and end date, and you can see for this particular contract it's coming up for renewal. This is a contract value field. So this is indicating the value of a particular contract, in this case the lifetime value, but equally you can show the monthly amount of a contract, or even indicate that it's just an approximate value. Finally, we're showing here the approval status. So a contract can be subject to workflow, and at the end of the workflow is either approved or is rejected. In this case you can also see there are some pending waiting workflow submission. So the reason we have the contract summary is then you could do things like this. You can decide, I'd like to today find all my contracts relating to facilities, and you can see as you begin to type the list updates automatically to match your filters. Once you've got the contracts that you want to work on, you can then maybe export them to Excel, or maybe just take a print of the current contracts. Maybe you're rushing off to a meeting, you want to take that list with you. In addition, we have a series of views. Here are the views you get out of the box. So you might decide, I'd like to see all my inactive contracts. Single click would then show you all the expired contracts. If required, you can create new views to your own custom requirements. So finally, let's take a look at the global search. The global search is always available, and so you can type at any time. You can type into this box and do a global search across the entire database. So let's have a look for the phrase grant. You can see it's made a number of matches. A number of contracts are matching to the word grant. A number of documents are matching to the word grant, as well as some approval workflows. In addition, you could decide to include document content. So global search will search inside documents. You can see the list has expanded, and now there are even more documents that it's found the word grant inside. So Intelligent Contract gives you a series of tools that can help you quickly locate the contract you want to work with and then do further manipulation if required. Okay, so let's look at a contract record in more detail. First, we need to locate a contract to review. So we'll use our filters to locate a contract. Here there are 4 matching, a master service agreement with 3 work orders. I'm going to go ahead, click this field here to open up that record. So the first thing to note is that the underlying detail is presented in a series of sections. We've only got 2 sections here. We've got the summary section and the key date section, and within each section are a series of fields. Let's look at some of the more interesting fields. So we've got here security groups, and this is indicating that for this particular contract only people in the legal security group are able to see this contract and actually make changes to it. They have read-write access. But of course you can create as many security groups as required and give them either read-only or read-write access. The contract value field is recording the value for this particular contract. This is a foreign currency contract shown in euros, but the system is indicating the dollar amount as well. So the lifetime value is just over $1,000, but each quarter it's around $87. We also have the active end date here, so that's been entered into the system, and the system is then indicating how long's left to run on this particular contract. So these are the layouts that you get out of the box, but of course they can be altered to match your requirements exactly. And to show you how easy that is, let's have a look at the configuration menu. So as an admin, I have access to the configuration menu. And in the configuration menu there's lots of different things you could do, like create users, maybe set up new security groups. But there's also this customization element here, and particularly this define form layouts. And within here, there's a layout for every form in the system. We're interested in the contract form, and within here we can then decide, well, actually, I'd like the category field to be here, and I'd like it to be mandatory. Or maybe there's a field that I want to bring on that I wasn't previously showing, and again, make that mandatory. And you can create new sections and really make it work to your exact requirements. So I won't save that. But what I will do is use my recent places to go back into my MSA. So in summary, contract records can be easily located and reviewed, and the layout of the record can be configured to your exact requirements. Further, you're able to action any changes to the system layouts as your needs develop over time. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the key features available on the tabs at the bottom of each contract within Intelligent Contract. So I've got my contract open here, and then you can see a series of tabs at the bottom here that carry additional information about this particular contract. We're going to take a look at the first 4. So the People tab is selected, and here you can record the people that you work with on this particular contract, so both internal and external. So you can see here there's an internal person, the contract manager, and there's an external person, the responsible officer at the supplier. Similarly, with the Companies tab, you record the supplier or suppliers that relate to this particular contract. So you can see here just a single supplier. So the reason we put People and Companies here on the tab underneath the contract is so that, of course, everyone has one place to go to find this information. But it also allows us to do this. We can go into the Companies menu, and we can see a list of all the companies across all our contracts. Here's that particular supplier we were looking at, and I can open their record, and I get some headline information about their address, their website, etc. But I also get some additional information again down in these tabs, and you can see here are the contracts that we're working on with this particular supplier. And there's the MSA that we were looking at, and you can see that that is currently shown as active, but there are 3 other work orders that we also have had in the past, and a current one as well. So given a particular party, you can see all the contracts that they work on, or given a contract, you can find the company. And it's the same with people. We have this triangulation going between company, party, and people. Okay, so let's use recent places and go back into our contract. And let's take a look at the Alerts tab. So the Alerts tab is where you can set up milestone alerts that are important for each particular contract. So in this case, you can see there are 3 alerts that have been set up, and they're going to be sent to individual people on particular dates. Creating a new reminder is as simple as clicking on New and filling out the details. So let's go ahead and create a new one. So let's say this is for renewal due, and you can choose the people who are to receive this particular reminder. I'm just going to put one person on this one, but you can have multiple people, and those people don't necessarily have to be users of the system. They could be senior managers or even suppliers that you send the alerts to. So automatically connected the contract to this reminder. You could put a description, maybe no price increase expected. Optionally, you can attach copies of documents to go out with this alert. And then let's go ahead and set the particular date for this alert. So you can go ahead and you can choose a date, maybe a month from now or a year from now. What's more common, of course, is to say maybe 3 months before the contract end date, go ahead and send this reminder. So when this date is reached, an email will be sent to John, and he can action right within the email this particular alert if he needs to. Okay, so let's take a look at the final tab, the Documents tab. So as you might expect, this is where you can store copies of documentation relating to this contract. You can see there's multiple documents here, .docs or PDFs, and you can have unlimited storage with each contract. If we look here, we've got a primary document that's been marked. So if we click on that document, we get to see the underlying detail of the doc. So you can see it's the Master Service Agreement document that's been set up. You can see its version, and you can have additional descriptions and even a status. You can see this is fully executed. Most importantly, you get a preview of this doc, so you can flick through that, have a look at the document. If it's the one you're happy with, you can go ahead and you can download it. So, in summary, Intelligent Contract allows you to store specific contract information in a series of tabs. This information is conveniently located at the bottom of each contract and can be quickly reviewed with just a few clicks of a mouse. Reporting is a key component of Intelligent Contract. Our reporting platform makes it very easy to produce PDF or Excel reports that can include any of the data in the system that you enter. So let's go ahead and have a look at how that reporting platform works. So you can see I've got the reporting menu item selected, and it's showing me a list of all the current reports that have been created with this account. And you could go ahead and you can just run these reports if you need to. But let's show you how easy it is to create new reports. So to create a new one, I click on New. And the first thing you do is choose what type of data you want to report upon. So it could be a user report, an alert report, a contract report. Let's choose the contract data set, because that's the most common. And what you get is an empty report to start building. So to build your report, it's a case of simply selecting the fields you'd like to include on that report. You can either click here or you can drag them into the column shelf. And as you drag the fields to the column shelf, the system will build you a preview of what that report is going to look like. Now it could be you'd want to change the field names, so let's go ahead and change this to just be the word end date and start date. And if required, you can move the fields around into an order that makes more sense. I was showing there just adding fields from the report, from the contract header, but all the fields across the entire system are available. So it could be you want to put in notes that have been added to the contract, or details about amendments, or even the documents themselves. Okay, so let's give this report a title. So let's say contracts expiring in the next 6 months. Now at the moment this report is showing all contracts, there's no filter in place. So let's go ahead and put a filter in so it only shows us those expiring in the next 6 months. So I drag the end date over to the filter shelf. Then it presents me with this form to fill out to say, well, what about the end date do we want to see? So you can either do where the end date is very specific, or a year from now, or even between two dates, or even this year. But what we want is where it's relative, so not this month, not next month, but actually in the next 6 months. Okay, and we save that filter. Then the preview now updates to show only those contracts that are expiring in the next 6 months. The final thing we'll put on this report is some sorting. So I'm going to sort this by end date rather than the contract ID. So let's take the contract ID off. And now it's sorted in end date order. Okay, we can, before we save the report, also alter some of the display options. So I'm going to put on the run date, who ran it. We'll put the filters that are at play on the report, put some page numbers on, and we'll put a header onto each page, confidential, and save those display options. Okay, I'm happy with this report, so let's save it. Once it's saved, it's available for everyone to be able to run if they want to. I'm going to go back to my list of reports now, and there's my new report. Let's go ahead and run this. So when you run the report, again you get the preview, and you get the option to change the filters on the fly. So if I wanted to, I could say, all right, this is for the next 8 months. But let's leave it at 6. I can also determine whether I want it in an Excel or CSV format. I'm going to choose a PDF format, and let's click Run. The system will now generate a PDF report and present it back with the header and the page numbers and the detail in the report itself. Thanks for taking the time to review this webinar. Please bear in mind we've only covered a small fraction of the available tools and features of the product. For example, we've not covered approval and review workflows, amendment management, spend management, KPI monitoring, archiving, electronic signature support, or the audit feature. Please visit our website to review more features or to book a one-to-one demonstration.